Hey, fifth grade, welcome back. We have 3 more weeks until Christmas break, so let's get started and just try to push through these 3 weeks. So if you've already looked on Shobi, you will see that the video for Monday was on last week's video, or the week before last. That video was just 11, 19, and 20, I believe. On that Friday, instead of giving you that assignment, we did what you're thankful for. So I moved that assignment to Monday, and that's where you can find that video. It's the one right before this one. So we're going to start this week with Tuesday because Monday's on the previous one. And we're just going to be doing more of this division stuff. So let's look at some of these problems that we're going to do. Let's do 3 into 63, 72. So more division. We're going to do this 3 days this week and have a little quiz on Wednesday tomorrow so that we can really make sure we understand this before we move on. So the first thing we do is say how many times does 3 go into 6? 2. 3 times 2 is 6. I subtract that and get 0. Remember, draw your arrows and bring down your 3. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 times 1 is 3. Subtract it, we get 0. Bring down our 7. 3 goes into 7 2 times. I multiply 3 by the 2 I just wrote. 3 times 2 is 6. Put it right there. I subtract and get 1. Bring down the 2. That makes it 12. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract it. We get 0. No remainder. So our answer is 2,124. Remember to check that. You can do 2,124 times 3, and you would get 6,372. Okay, so let's do another one or so. For homework tonight, you'll have a workbook page. Tomorrow night's homework, since we ran out of workbook pages after this one, will be a worksheet. So be looking out for that. Let's do 4 into 9,284. So first thing we think of, 4 goes into 9 how many times? 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8, so I'm going to write that right there and subtract it. 9 minus 8 is 1. I'm going to bring down my 2. Now we say how many times does 4 go into 12? 3 times. I'm going to write it right above that 2 in the next column. 4 times 3 is 12. Subtract that, we get 0. Bring down the 8. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract it, we get 0. Bring down the 4. 4 goes into 4 one time, and 4 times 1 is 4. I don't have any much room, but if you subtract it, you get 0. Sorry, it erased. So that answer was, let me go back here, 2,321 for the one that we just did. I couldn't fit it all at the end and it erased it. Sorry. Let's do one more for today. Let's do 9 into 6,825. All right, so first 9 goes into 6. I can't do that. So I need to look at 68. So I'm going to think 9 times what gives me close to 68. I know that 9 times 5 is 45. That's too low. 9 times 6 is 54. Still too low. 9 times 7 is 63. That's about as close as I'm going to get. So make sure, look at what I just did. I put my 7 above the 8. If I put it above the 6, that means that 9 goes into 6 7 times, which isn't true. So it has to be above the 68. Then I multiply. 9 times 7 is 63. Then we subtract 8, 7, 6, 5. Bring down the 2. So then we now think 9 goes into 52. How many times? We said that 9 times 5 was 45. 9 times 6 is 54. So 54 is too high, so I need to put 5. 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, so when you subtract that, you get 7. Bring down the 5, 9 goes into 75. 9 times 8 is 72, so that's going to be as close as I can get. Multiply those, get 72, subtract 75 minus 72, and get 3. Now there's nothing else to bring down, so that 3 has to be my remainder, which I write up here. Okay, so for classwork today, you're going to do page 73, 24 to 30, and your homework is workbook page 54. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for your classwork today and your homework, and then I'll see you back here for Wednesday's video. All right, Wednesday's video. Today you're going to do a little practice quiz on the division that we've been doing Monday and yesterday. And then for homework, you're going to have a worksheet because we've used up all of our workbook pages. So let's practice some before you take your quiz today. Let's do 8 goes into 5,142. First step, 8 cannot go into 5, so I need to look at this 51. Then I think 8 times what gets me close to 51? Let's start with 5. 8 times 5 is 40, so that's too low. 8 times 6 is 48, so that's probably as close as we're going to get. So I'm going to make sure my 6 is right above my 1, and if you look right there, you can tell that it's a little off, so I'm going to erase it and make it neater. And you should do that as well to make sure they're lined up correctly. So 8 goes into 51 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48. 51 minus 48 is 3. And I'm going to bring down my 4. Now we think 8 times what gets me close to 34 because nothing's going to go in there evenly. So 8 times 6 is 48. That's way too high. So let's go down. 8 times 5 is 40. Too high. 8 times 4 is 32. So that gets me really close. So I'm going to write my 4 in the next column. 8 times 4 is 32. 4 minus 2 is 2. I'm going to bring down this 2. Now I think 8 goes into 22. How many times? 8 times 3 is 24, so that's going to be too high, so I need to put a 2. 8 times 2 is 16. And when you subtract that, you get 6. There's nothing else to bring down, so my remainder is 6. 642. Remainder 6 is your answer. All right, let's do another one real quick. Let's do 1967 divided by 7. So same thing happening here. I can't put 7 into 1, so I need to look at 19. 7 times 3 is 21, too high, so I need to put a 2. 7 times 2 is 14, sorry. 19 minus 14 is 5. I'm going to bring down my 6. 7 goes into 56 8 times. 7 times 8 is 56, so it goes in evenly. We get a 0 when we subtract. Bring down your 7. 7 goes into 7 1 time. 7 times 1 is 7. Subtract that, we get 0. So our answer is 281. That's pretty simple when no remainder. Okay, let's do one more, and then I'm going to let you go and take your quiz. For this one, we're going to do 3771 divided by 9. 9 can't go into 3, so we need to look at 37. 9 times 3 is 27, but that's too low. So let's go 9 times 4, which is 36. So put my 4, and then I said 9 times 4 is 36. Now we subtract that, and we get 1. Bring down the 7. 9 goes into 17. 9 times 2 is 18, so that's too high. So I have to put a 1 here. 9 goes into 17 1 time. 9 times 1 is 9. So when we subtract that, we get 17 minus 10 is 23. 17, sorry, off balance today. 17 minus 10 is 7, so 8. Bring that 1 down, 81. 9 goes into 81 9 times. 9 times 9 is 81. Subtract it, we get 0, 419. Okay, so today you're going to go on and do your quiz on Shobi, and you're also going to do your homework worksheet. Okay, so those two things you're going to do for today, and I'll see you back here for Thursday, and we're going to start our new lesson then. All right, guys, Thursday's video. Today we're going to be on page 75 in your book. So page 74, actually. 75 will be for your classwork. Let's look at this. It says zeros in the quotient. Remember, quotient is your answer. A farmer plants a total of 5,612 banana plants on 4 acres of land. If he plants the same number of plants on each acre, how many banana plants are on each acre? To determine how many banana plants are on each acre, find 5,612 divided by 4. So this is the same thing we've been doing, except this time you're going to have zeros in your answer. So let's get started and do 4 into 5,612. So first step, 4 goes into 5 one time. 4 times 1 is 4. So I'm going to write it there, then I subtract those, and you get 1. Bring down the 6. Now we have 16. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16, so I get 0. And bring down my 1. Now this is different, so look at this. Now we would say to ourselves, 4 goes into 1 how many times? Well, it doesn't, so I put a 0 here. 4 times 0 is 0. Subtract 1 minus 0, I get 1. Bring down the 2. So when we put that 0 up there and we subtract by it and multiply by it, that allows us to make the 12, which 4 does go into 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. We're going to squeeze it in. When you subtract that, you get 0. So if 4 or whatever divisor does not go into a number, you put 0. So if it doesn't work, put a 0. So let's try another one like that one. Give me just a second to erase it. So if you find yourself in the middle of the problem saying, well, that doesn't go into that, that's fine. That's when you put your 0. So let's do 721 divided by 7. 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 times 1 is 7. Subtract that, I get 0. Bring down my 2. Now I ask myself how many times 7 goes into 2. It doesn't, so I put a 0 up here because it goes in 0 times. 7 times 0 is 0. When I subtract 2 minus 0, I get 2, and I bring down my 1. Now 7 can go into 21 3 times. 7 times 3 is 21. Subtract that, you get 0, so no remainder. Okay, you are going to have a remainder on some of these, so if you do see a remainder, that's fine. Okay, let's do another one. And remember, you can fast forward, rewind if I'm going too quick in between problems. That's the beauty of the YouTube videos. Let's do 3,510 divided by 5. So I would say 5 goes into 3, can't, so we need to look at 35. 5 goes into 35 7 times. 5 times 7 is 35. Subtract that and get 0. Bring down my 1. 5 goes into 1 0 times, so I'm going to put my 0 up here. 5 times 0 is 0. When I subtract 1 minus 0, I get 1. Bring down that 0. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract that, I get 0, so my answer is 702. Okay, we're going to do one more for today. Let's do 3,041 divided by 6. So first, 6 goes into 3. Can't happen. So let's look at 30. 6 goes into 30. Let's do our facts real quick. 7 times 4 is 24. Sorry, not 7, 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30, so that goes in perfectly. 6 times 5 is 30. Subtract it, you get 0. Bring down my 4. 6 goes into 4 0 times. It won't fit. Put my 0 in my next column. 6 times 0 is 0. Subtract that. 4 minus 0 is 4. Bring down the 1. 6 goes into 41. So let's look at our facts. 6 times 6 is 36. That's pretty close. 6 times 7 is 42. So close, but it's not going to work. We need to put 6. You want to get close, but don't go over the number. 6 times 6 is 36. When we subtract that, we get 5. So we get a remainder of 5. Let me show you how to check this real quick when you have a remainder. You do the same thing. We would do 506 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. 6 times 5 is 30. And then we would add our remainder here. And then we would get 30, 41. So when you have a remainder, you just add it after you multiply your divisor and your dividend. So if you're checking, that's the easy way to do it real quick. So today you're going to do page 75, numbers 12 through 17. And your homework is going to be workbook page 55. Okay, so go ahead and get started on that. And then when we get to Friday's video, we're going to be doing the same thing again, more of this stuff. And we will just do this for the rest of the week and see how we do. All right, Friday's video, last video of the week. We're going to be practicing more of what we've been doing with zeros and the quotient. So let's jump into one. Let's do 1890 divided by 9. 9 can't go into 1, but it can go into 18 2 times. Put my 2. 9 times 2 is 18. I subtract that, I get 0. I bring down my 9. 9 goes into 9 1 time. 9 times 1 is 9. When I subtract that, I get 0. Bring down my 0. 9 goes into 0 0 times. 9 times 0 is 0. When we subtract it, we get no remainder. So even though you have that 0, you can't skip that step. You still need to do this step here and have that 0 up here. Okay, so don't skip it and tell me the answer is 21, because that's not going to be right. You still have to go through the entire process until all of these are filled up. Okay, so let's do another. Let's do 60, 12 divided by 3. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 3 times 2 is 6. We get 0 when we subtract. Bring down the 0. 3 goes into 0 0 times. 3 times 0 is 0. Subtract it. 0. Bring down the 1. 3 goes into 1 0 times again. It's not enough. So I still put another 0. 3 times 0 is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. Bring down the 2. Now we have something we can work with. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract that, we get no remainder, 0. So 2004. And remember to check that. We can do 2004 times 3. And we get 6012, so that's correct. Okay? Let's do some more. Just a second to get all of this off. Let's do 4274 divided by 4. Okay, 4 goes into 4 1 time. 4 times 1 is 4. Subtract that, we get 0. Bring down my 2. 4 can't go into 2, so I put a 0. 4 times 0 is 0. Subtract that, I get 2. Bring down my 7. So then I'm going to think 4 times what gives me 27. So let's go through. 4 times 5 is 20, 2 left. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. So that's too high, so we have to go with 6. And we get 24. When we subtract that, we get 3. And we'll bring down our 4. 4 goes into 34 8 times. 4 times 8 is 32. When we subtract, we get 2. And remember to go back up to the top to write your remainder. I'm not going to search for a remainder when I check it, so make sure it's all up there, okay? Let's do one more, and then I'm going to let you go on to your classwork for the day. Let's do 830 divided by 4. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract it, we get 0. Bring down our 3. 4 goes into 3 0 times. 4 times 0 is 0. Subtract 3 minus 0, I get 3. Bring down the 0, 30. I know that 4 times 8 is 32, but that's going to be too high. So let's put 7, and let's put our 28. And when we subtract that, we get 2. So we get 207, remainder 2. Okay, so today for classwork, you're going to be doing page 75, 18 through 23. No homework because it's Friday. So go ahead and get started, and you guys let me know if you have any questions.